Hi, hello, it's Sugar. Here's my guide to normal and heroic Igira the Cruel. This fight has one phase that gains mechanics based on which weapon, axe, sword, or dagger, the raid soaks during marked for Torment. Before the pull, split the raid equally to counter the axe, which I'll cover in detail later. In Heroic, you'll also need to assign different groups to soak each weapon because of flesh mortification. Hero can be used on pull, and the boss can be tanked where she stands with the raid standing behind her. First, we'll look at Twisting Blade. This shoots several swords in a frontal targeted on a random player. Their hitbox is bigger than it looks, so be prepared to dodge. The tank mechanic in this fight is Vicious Swing. This melees the current target and the next closest player. Each strike applies Drenched blades, a bleed that stacks. Tanks should stay close to each other and swap around 6 to 8 stacks to keep this manageable. Next, Blistering Spear targets several players, tethering them to the ground and leaving a patch of Blistering Torment under them. This deals moderate Shadow Flame damage every second to anyone in 10 yards until the spear is destroyed. Tethered players should not try to run away from the spear as it will snap back. Use a personal and some raid-wide mitigation to loosely stack the spears in twos in a semi-triangle-like pattern close to the boss to get them down quickly. These mechanics will repeat until 100 energy, at which point Harvest Screams will buff Igira's damage by 10%. This stacks each time it happens. Marked for Torment also begins, dealing a large burst of raid-wide AoE and a knockback. 3 areas of the room ignite, and the raid has 20 seconds to soak one. Failing to do so triggers Ruionous End, wiping the raid. Players who soak shrink the circle and suffer light ticking damage from gathering Torment. In Heroic, after soaking, Flesh Mortification debuffs these players, increasing damage taken from soaking again by 100%. This is where your earlier group assignments come into play. Use your tanks and range players for this task before adding any melee to maximize DPS uptime. While soaking, you may have to dodge Searing Sparks that fly from Igira toward random players. Anyone in 4 yards of their impact takes Shadow Flame damage plus a knockback. Additionally, each swing of her hammer deals moderate raid-wide AoE. The best order to soak in, as of testing, is the dagger on the right, the axe on the left, and then the sword in the middle. Let's look at the dagger on the right first. This activates Flaying Torment. This applies Heartstopper, a 15-second healing absorb to several players. If healed off, it deals moderate Shadow Flame damage to anyone in 7 yards. If it expires, it does raid-wide AoE instead. Players should run out of the group before being healed up. In Heroic, Vital Rupture causes orbs to be expelled from these players when removed. These hit hard and leave a dot if not dodged. The axe on the left side is Hacking Torment. This creates Umbral Destruction, putting a smash on the tank that inflicts raid-wide AoE reduced by the number of players within the 10-yard impact zone. This leaves them brutalized, making them unable to diminish the damage of the next soak. Split the raid beforehand and alternate soak groups to counter it. The sword in the middle is Slicing Torment. This activates Smashing Viscera. Igira leaps to players, dealing near-fatal Shadow Flame damage to anyone in 8 yards and moderate Shadow Flame damage to everyone outside of the impact zone. On Heroic, this also unleashes Waves of Devastation, dealing Shadow Flame damage to anyone hit. Each weapon's abilities repeat twice after being soaked. Only one can be active at a time in this difficulty. By the time all 3 are soaked, the boss should be near defeat. I'll leave you with my TLDR. You can find a link in the description to this image. Thanks for watching, and check back for more boss guides. Okay, bye!